God.
I told you guys, can't fix it in a week. I tried to tell you. Can't tackle.
You were right.
They can't block. And for all intents and purposes, it's over. Totally over.
Throw the dirt on them.
Somebody say over?
As in, yes.
As in.
Yeah. Oh, do you have that queued up? You're going to use that today?
Using it right now, man.
Yeah, I guess so. Man.
I just feel like,
That's how I feel. Hey, they're not going to lose this week.
Bye week?
This is true.
It's a bye week. Thank God.
I want to pay my respects to the team that didn't belong in the playoff last year anyway and are continuing to lose.
Stop it. Stop it.
How many other teams suing their current conference are in last place, just out of curiosity?
And on that note, welcome everybody. Tim here with Peter and Darren, and we are targeting winners. We're looking into episode 65. This is week 2 of the 24 season. Even though it's over, we still have a lot of bets to place, a lot of things to look forward to. How are you guys doing today?
I'm good. It's over for you. For the rest of us.
Well, if it's over for me, days. It's over for America. I mean,
all I'm saying is guys are 0-3 since the committee made the wrong choice. Just
yeah.
I think we've put that all in perspective now. That seems like the right choice. But
the committee obviously knows what they're doing. How dare we even question?
Because this year has everything to do with last year. Yeah. You know, it's funny. I was talking with my friend Brett, and we actually talked about this back in April about the whole with getting DJ instead of Cam Ward. He was like, why don't we just not get a quarterback, go with Brock, go with this new kid. We got some kid, Luke Cameroke or whatever his name is. He was like an elite 11 guy. We lost all these other players. Let's just go with what we got and see what we're doing. And should have done it.
Bro, you could have Luke Skywalker with that offensive line and that defensive line. It doesn't matter. The force would not even help you. You can't run. You can't protect. You can't stop the run. Do you guys know what a half-back wheel option is? Because your defense sure as hell looked like they had never heard of it. It's just like, my God, I feel terrible because like Pete and I were like, Florida State by 24 or more. And man,
I told you, I was close to going money line anyway on that game.
They should have.
Learn to block, they must. Anyway,
maybe tackle occasionally would be great. Yeah.
So, once in a while. Let's just go right in here. What game you guys want to go into our bets first? Let's start.
It's Friday, so let's take a look at Friday. Yeah, we got a couple games tonight because why should the NFL have all the fun? So let's see. SMU looks like they're laying 11.5 or 12 at home against BYU, and Northwestern laying anywhere from 1.5 to 2.5 at home versus Duke. Any of you guys got any thoughts on either of those two games?
I know I'll be watching them instead of the NFL. I refuse to get Peacock just to watch a football game. So I'll be watching these games. As far as betting on them, I will not be, but definitely watching.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting your perspective, Darren, on the Duke Northwestern game. We were talking about it a little bit earlier. I think it's interesting. I mean, I think it should be competitive, and I think you have some good thoughts on that.
Yeah, the only thing I thought, first of all, for the first game, I kind of learned my SMU lesson. That they have not yet put it together. I don't take last week's game for anything. I played a subpar FCS opponent, so be it. But as far as the Duke Northwestern game, the one thing I was telling you guys before that interests me is, Northwestern's playing, at their practice facility, which is like right along the water. That just generates wind apparently all the time. So tonight they're calling for like 20, 25, 30 mile an hour winds in that game. Duke is certainly more inclined to pass the ball than Northwestern is. And, the one thing I like about week 2 is at least for most teams, we've got at least a box score to look at or a game we could have watched. Duke really struggled against Elon, who I believe I read somewhere in their coastal division or conference or whatever, they were projected to finish 6th. So this is not a very good football team, even at their level. And Duke really struggled for a good 2.5, 3 quarters against them. Northwestern, they only won by 7, put up 13 points, but they were playing MAC favorite Miami of Ohio, who has an excellent defense. So with that spread being under a field goal, I'm more inclined to take the team that's going to keep the ball on the ground. I have not bet it. 20 minutes from now, that may change, but I kind of like Northwestern here as long as it stays under 3. But in a game where points are probably going to be at a premium, scares me off a little bit. But I just think that field, I think, kind of will affect teams that are going to pass the ball a little bit more, which I think Duke is. So a strong lean to Northwestern, possibly a bet by the end of the show. We'll see.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think that, as I said, the game's going to be competitive. I think the weather certainly will be a factor. Just a sidebar, which has nothing to do with anything, but I noticed the Indiana spread today, laying 43.5 points. I was trying to remember the last time Indiana laid 43.5 points to anyone for any reason, because I saw that number. It's like, you have got to be kidding me. But anyway, I wouldn't touch that with anything. But
well, they're James Madison 2.0 now, so James Madison could cover 43. So you never know.
Fair enough.
I was actually thinking about betting this game on the under, but it was 40 and it moved down to 37. That's going to be a theme with with most of my picks today. So, but yeah, when it went down to 37, I mean, it probably will end up being 13-10 final. But with the line moving that far, I decided to stay away from it. So yeah, I was doing an under bet until it went down. So we'll see. What are the other game?
SMU at home against BYU. Initially surprised that spread opened as low as it did. But I guess BYU had a pretty decent week 1 performance. Take from that what you will. I don't even remember who it was against. SMU seems to maybe get some of their issues behind them. Then again, maybe Nevada's just not as much of a train wreck as we all thought they were. I mean, they went into Troy as a 7.5 point dog and came out with a win. So, credit to Nevada, man. I was definitely wrong on them. They're playing some good football. But again, I don't know what to expect from SMU. I haven't really been following BYU that much. I'm going to avoid that one. I'll watch it because it's on at 7. Northwestern's not on until 9, I think. So I'll watch it, but no play for me on that one either.
I believe SMU played Houston Christian.
Oh, okay.
Close game, 59-7. So yes, take that.
I can't take anything out of that. I mean, that's what, in week 1. That's what you're supposed to do when you schedule a Houston Christian or enter subpar FCS team here. So yeah, that's the one thing I hate about having a box score is it could be like that type of box score. It's like, what do you take away from that? Great. You did what you should have. Whatever.
Well, let's go with another ugly game. My first pick, we'll go with targeting winners' favorite coach, Biff Poggi, over there at playing UNC this week. They are making some sausage last week. I think they'll probably continue to make some sausage this week. The over-under was 48.5. I don't think UNC will get caught looking ahead to their matchup against North Carolina Central next week. I expect them to cover, but I'm not sure what to expect other than that. With the over-under being 48, I think if they take the foot off the gas, I don't expect Charlotte to score. So I went with the under on this one, 48.5 UNC against Charlotte. Fellas?
All I know is North Carolina lost their quarterback to a broken leg. But apparently the other guy's not too bad either. But like I said, I know Charlotte was missing a lot of starters due to injury last week, and it showed they got blasted. Yeah, credit to you for even doing something with this. I would stay away from this.
I mean, if anything, it's an under. Yeah. I mean, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
If anything, it's an under.
Well, they could be looking ahead. I mean, Charlotte is playing Gardner-Webb next week, so maybe they're looking ahead to that game. That'll be a barn burner. I'm sure we'll have big money on that one as well next week. So. All right, guys, pick a game. What you going to next year, Darren?
I don't know. Throw up a visual. What do you got?
Throw up a visual. Here we
go. Throw up a visual. Let's see what you got. Whosever game is next.
Ta-da!
Oh, that's you too, Tim.
There you go. You're up.
Go again, Tim.
Oh, wonderful. I'm picking my thing. Georgia Tech and Syracuse. This is another where you got to pay attention to your betting apps. I believe the over/under was 57. Some at DraftKings. I actually got it at 62 on Hard Rock Bets. It has since went down to 61. But the way Georgia Tech runs the ball, the clock's going to be going. I think Syracuse might still be working out some kinks. They had a decent showing last week, but I also with 62, I think 28 points gets you the win. So I bet the under on this one as well, under 62 for Georgia Tech at Syracuse.
Didn't look at it myself. Live in New York. Can't bet it if I wanted to. So.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I paid zero attention to this.
I did as well. Syracuse does not interest me all that much at the moment, so I did not.
All right. Well, all right. Let's see if I can find something that's not one of mine. How's this? Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Ooh, that's mine. How juicy! How juicy! So clearly, Ole Miss scored like 1,000 points in the first half last week. So I would not be surprised. By the way, a little footnote before I say what I'm going to say. I've been all under bets up until this week, and I am flipping the script today. So we're going the other direction. So Ole Miss, I mean, at the end of the day, the only people that stopped them was themselves last week. I mean, when they finally decided to stop, I don't expect that to change this week. Middle Tennessee actually has a pretty decent offense, so I think they could actually score some as well. So they might contribute to the party this week versus last week when there was no contribution on the other side. So to me, 62.5 is a pretty low number. It's not a low number, but for this game, it's a pretty low number. I took the over on this one. I cannot. I mean, Ole Miss made me eat my words last week, and I intend to ride that bus again this week on the other side. So over 62.5 on the Middle Tennessee and Ole Miss game.
Ole Miss superfan Ray would be happy with that pick.
As I said, last week he predicted they'd score 7 touchdowns. They scored 10. So, I mean, that's it's crazy.
I mean, I like that. I mean, if Middle Tennessee gets to 10 points, I mean, you think Ole Miss can handle the rest. So
that was my thought. It's like,
they're a pretty pass-happy team, too. So, I mean, get a couple of touchdowns late to contribute. But, yeah.
A pick here or there, something, again, get some points on the other side. And, yeah, there's going to be points. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, no. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if they just repeated last week and did it all the heavy lifting themselves. So I think that's a good bet right there. My disappointment from last week.
Oh, hey, that's me. Okay, so all right, I got Maryland here. I laid 8.5, 1 unit play over Michigan State here. This was like a lot of other games, a game where the line went all over the place. I mean, this opened. Maryland was a 10-point favorite. And then my best guess is a lot of Maryland hate came in because if anybody watched Michigan State last week, and I know the three of us did because they were the only game in town. Why would you take? They're a work in progress easily. Just looking at some of the stats from that. The first thing, if a quarterback says take the over, don't take the over. Okay. Just putting that out there. Okay, so if you just look at some of the stats for what Michigan State did, Aiden Childs, the big talker, 10 of 24, 114 yards, 2 picks, only 14 first downs the entire game, 3 for 13 on third down, 3 turnovers, 12 penalties for 140 yards, and one of their touchdown drives was 18 yards as it came off an FAU turnover. We've spoken at length how FAU is not a good offensive club. Bringing in Cam Fancher was not going to help, and it certainly did not. I don't know how many times we saw his helmet rolling around on the ground, thankfully without his head still in it. That dude is going to get himself concussed before too long. But FAU, not a good offensive team. The Spartans really should have pulled away here, but when you bring in all those new parts on offense, whole new coaching staff, it takes time. I mean, we've all touched on that before. This team looks like it's going to take a few more weeks for them to work things out. You look at the Maryland side, their big question coming in was, well, who's going to replace Tua's little brother at quarterback? Well, here comes Billy Edwards, who only went 20 of 27 for 311 and 2 TDs and 39 yards on the ground. Maryland's usually a pretty good offensive club anyway under Loxley, their head coach. But defensively, they're kind of sneaky good. I mean, nobody talks about them because you've got Michigan, you've got Ohio State, you got Penn State, you got all these other teams in the conference with really good defenses. But the last 2 years, Maryland hasn't given up more than 23 points a game. Again, they played UConn. I mean, not an FCS school, but not too far off from one. So I think they beat them like 50-7 or something like that. So again, take from that what you will. But the fact that this offense was rolling like right from the get-go says something. Now they had 6 touchdowns. One off a turnover was a 19-yard drive, but their other 5 touchdown drives, 75, 92, 78, 75, and 85 yards. So, that's not, when you do 5 long sustained touchdown drives, I mean, that tells me you're ready to go. So, this line started at 10 down to 7 or 7.5. I got it 8.5. Some places are 9. Some other places are 9.5. If you like it, grab it before it goes to 10. I would probably leave it alone there. But yeah, everything here is pointing to a Maryland double-digit win. I mean, last year they went to Michigan State and won 31-9 as a 7-point favorite. So I think in this conference game, Maryland's going to get themselves off to a good start and cover this 8.5 here.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you nailed it, right? Sparty's a work in progress. We talked about it last week when the question came up about that game, and I said I wouldn't touch them simply because I don't know what they're going to be yet. I don't think they know what they're going to be yet. They've got a ways to go there with that team. Now, I do think they're going to improve through the year, but it's week 2, and I think that this is a bad spot for them against a pretty good team. And I agree with you. I think they're going to have issues against this team. So, yep, I love that bet.
Okay, well, let's go to the big game of the week.
Oh, you got to bring this up already? Jeez.
Yeah, I got to bring it up. I guess we should give a shout out to Locked On Big Ten for the graphic. It's the only one I could find that wasn't terrible. So thanks, guys. We're a low budget operation, folks.
You could have just screenshotted your college football 25 video game and just set up a game with Texas and Michigan and taking a picture.
There we go.
Sure, EA's not watching.
And by low budget, I mean no budget.
0, right? Our budget is 0.
All right, Pete.
I'm not emotionally ready for this conversation. So we just threw dirt on your team this week, and and buried it. And I'm very concerned about my team this week in the Big House with Texas coming in, who I think is one of the absolute best teams in the country. It scares the heck out of me because I don't think we're ready for that. Now that said, Michigan showed nothing last week, right? They were bare bones. That's all they had to be. So I'm sure they have way more up their sleeve than what they did last week. So I think they will be flinging the ball around and trying to do some stuff that could go very poorly at some point for them, which scares me. So I unfortunately think that we're probably going to get trucked. I really think that's the case, but the over-under is at 42.5. Of course, they're leaning heavily into defense. I think this is going to be a defensive game. I don't buy that. I really don't. I don't think Michigan's defense is as good as it was last year. I think Texas is going to score points. I would be shocked if they didn't score at least 3 or 4 touchdowns on Michigan. Honestly, how they get them, I don't know, but I think that is easily the case. Michigan will score some, but so I think that number is low, right? 42.5 is low to me. So I'm going with the over on that 42.5. As I said, it's going to be hard to watch. I'm going to have to start drinking well before that game to watch this thing and just kick back and try not to lose myself. So anyway, so I do like what time is that game?
I was just about to ask you if it's late.
It's at noon. It's at noon.
Oh,
yeah. So
liquid cereal.
So yeah, maybe a little morning mimosa or something, a little brunch, and then get ready for this thing. But anyway, I do like the over at 42.5 here.
And half a bottle of Kettle One. There we go.
You got it, man.
Here's another big one here.
Wait, we don't get to comment on this?
I mean,
I know you got something to say.
Absolutely.
I mean, we just trashed your FSU team. I mean, here's your rebuttal time. Go for it, man.
No, they're the defending champion, so there's really not much you can say. I mean, they've got the belt, so you can't go undefeated every year, obviously. I do have a rooting interest. One of my office friends, her son plays for Michigan. He's one of the offensive linemen, so number 53. So if you happen to see number 53 on running around on TV, that's my friend's kid. So other than that, I'm rooting for Michigan. So
He'll be on his back while the Texas players are running over him. That's what I expect to see tomorrow.
Oh,
he's a true freshman. I think he'll be on the sideline for now.
All right.
But if he gets in the game, maybe punt coverage or something.
I'm just gonna throw this out there to give Pete a little bit of hope. Even though Texas demolished the living bejesus out of Colorado State last week, they generated a whopping 0 sacks.
Yeah,
half their defensive line went to the NFL. Obviously, they don't have the pass rush they had last year. And like you said, and we talked about it the week before, hey, is Michigan maybe looking ahead and not showing everything? How often did Donovan Edwards even touch the ball?
Yeah.
I mean, no, because they want him healthy for this. He's probably going to get 25 carries minimum in this game. Once it got to 7 or 7.5, I should say, I had to think for a little bit, but all the Michigan people jumped in at 7.5, and it was back to 7 in no time. I mean, I give the defensive edge to the Wolverines, man, and it's really not that close. If you can get anything out of your quarterbacks, I don't think you should be all gloom and doom. I mean, it's not like you're Florida State. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think this is going to be as bad as you think. I mean, and you follow Michigan, so I totally value and respect your opinion. But, Fresno State's not a bad offensive club. You held them to 9 yards rushing and 10 points total. I mean, I just don't think this is going to be like the 34-10 beat down that you're thinking. I think this is going to be closer, but yeah, if when it opened back in February or March or whatever, when it was 3.5, yeah, I probably would have taken Texas, but I was lazy. I let it balloon up to 7, and yeah, don't lose all hope, man. I don't think this is going to be as bad as you think, but stay away from me here. Yeah, I'm not taking this one. Oh, sorry, that's me. All right, total buy low spot on Oregon here. This is another game that the spread opened 24, and everybody was like, wow, Oregon only scored that against Idaho, all the way down to 18 as the week went on, started to go back up. I got this at 18.5. It's around 19.5 right now, so it's still under that key number of 21. Again, we always talk about checking out the occasional box score. If you looked at that box score, Dylan Gabriel was still 41 of 49 for 380 and 2 touchdowns. They got 31 first downs. They only gave up 10 to Idaho, 496 yards to Idaho's 217. But again, you look at the way that they could not finish drives, 8 penalties, a missed field goal, a fumble at the Idaho 22, and twice lost the ball on downs in their own territory. So you talk about an offense that's got some things to clean up. What better spot against a Boise State defense that gave up 45 points to Georgia Southern? I mean, I thought this defense would actually be somewhat decent. They played pretty well the last quarter of the season once Danielson took over, but man, they were awful. And Ashton Genty, I mean, we love him. He's not getting 60 touchdowns and 267 yards or whatever he had. I mean, he gave up 27 first downs to Georgia Southern, over 460 yards to Georgia Southern. This is a what do you say? Buy low, get right spot, whatever you want to call it. I would play this to 21. I wish it didn't start at 10, so I could actually probably try and stay awake and watch the whole thing. But yeah, I expect Oregon to roll. If you heard the Dan Lanning press conference after, he's not happy. He wasn't happy when they played Colorado last year, and we all know what happened there. So I know Boise, if they want to be considered a playoff team, this is probably a big game for them. But you give up 45 points to Georgia Southern, you are not a playoff team. So I'm looking for Oregon to get everything fixed here. This may get really, really ugly. So yeah, I got one unit play, Oregon minus 18.5.
I almost pulled the trigger on this one too. Decided against it, but yeah, I was close.
Yeah, over under on this one was 61.5. Sorry, and I thought about it. I mean, I really think Oregon's going to score. I think Boise can. I mean, I sort of like it. I didn't play it, but I'm leaning that direction. So I'm leaning on the over, but I'm kind of afraid to play it because I'm not quite sure how this is going to play out. But I think from the spread perspective, I agree 100%. I think this is a buy low situation, and I think you'll make out well because of it.
I mean, we talk about week 1, overreaction week. I mean, a lot of these games, these spreads are moving 3 points or more. Like in a lot of these games, I think people are just, to go from 24 down to 18. I mean, guys, it's still Oregon. I mean, they're going to be fine. I think they're going to be fine. They're going to be right Saturday night here in Eugene.
Okay. Let's go to mine. Get my last one here out of the way. This is my last play for the week. We had Troy and Memphis. This is another one where patience pays off. The over-under was 54. On Hard Rock Bets, I got it up to 57.5. This is one of those things. I think Troy, total, still working out the kinks. A lot of the turnover there. They talk a lot about Memphis's offense. The defense is really good too. I think going up against Troy, 21 points would get the win. They'll probably score 40. I don't think Troy will score 17. So be that as it may, this was a sensible pick for me. I took the under at 57.5.
I initially was laying the 18.5 here, and then I backed out of it. I probably shouldn't have, because now it's up to 19.5 at some shops. I initially saw this and thought, wow, with all the issues I thought Troy would have, that the spread does seem kind of low. But Memphis defensively, I could see them being up by 24 and giving the old backdoor cover to Troy somehow. And I stayed away. But I don't know how much Troy is gonna do here offensively.
Ugly last week.
Yeah, I mean, again, let's give a little credit to Nevada. I mean, they were only like an 8-point dog. I mean, somebody's got Troy over. I'm sorry for whoever that is, because I'm sure you're counting on Nevada as one of the wins. But a lot of, like you said, Tim, a lot of turnover here, and it takes time, no matter who you are. Like, let's take Florida State, for example. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
I see a theme for this year.
You want the music back up again?
No, it's okay. That's okay. I'm good. Screw you guys.
What are you gonna sue us and leave for another show?
All right, let's move on.
Oh, talking about teams that suck. Yeah, I am on Old Dominion here, baby. Here again, another spread. DraftKings today had Old Dominion as a 1.5 point favorite. I took them at FanDuel where they were 1.5 point underdog. This spread has been all over the place. So again, depending on who you like, depends on where you bet. But Old Dominion went to South Carolina, not the greatest SEC school in the world, but still a road game against an SEC team. We saw how that worked out for Virginia Tech. They only lost 23-19, despite being a 19.5 point dog in this game. They had the lead in the fourth quarter. They fumbled inside their own 10-yard line, which led to the winning touchdown. They also fumbled a second time inside their own 10 as well. So South Carolina had 2 touchdowns. Their drives for those touchdowns, 6 yards and 3 yards. So again, that's why I say kind of take a look at the box score. So their 2 touchdown drives, 9 yards combined. And then also they had a 1st and goal, and they threw a pick. So this was a game Old Dominion should have won, much less not even easily covered the 19.5. They outgained South Carolina, but they turned the ball over 4 times. And no matter who you are not going to win with 4 turnovers. So East Carolina coming off a 2-10 year. I know they destroyed Norfolk State last week, but again, I don't know what you really take out of that. But they also had 4 turnovers in that blowout of Norfolk State. So, ECU last year was a 2-10 team. They didn't score a whole lot. ODU, I just think they're better than what everybody's saying. I mean, I was going to take a money line, but it was like minus 102 or 104 or something like that. So, you know what? I'll just take the extra 1.5 in case, 21-20, 31-30 or something like that or whatever. But I'm looking for ODU to not make those key mistakes at those key spots on the field. Probably win out right here, but hell, I'll take the 1.5 as well. So I have a 1 to play on Old Dominion.
Yeah. 1st and goal with a pick. At least they didn't run a jet sweep.
This is true. Maybe they should have, but
well, okay, sure, but no. Never run any kind of outside pitch or don't get me started. Okay, let's
don't get me started.
Too late.
At least run a halfback sweep. Oh wait, I'm sorry. The halfback wheel, I should say.
I knew that's where you were going. All right.
My last one is up. All right. K-State at Tulane. Point total started at about 49.5, has moved down to 47.5. First and foremost, I love when point spreads are moving down like that. To me, I'm playing a contrarian pick on this. I mean, both programs scored well and pretty efficiently last week. I don't think they showed much of anything, honestly, with the competition they played last week. So it's a little bit up in the air in terms of what we're going to see. But having shown nothing, I think both offenses were pretty good last week. I think that number is a bit low considering what we can see, especially out of K-State and the scoring they could do here. Yeah, I mean, as I said, this is a little bit of a gut pick rather than kind of being a statistics pick, simply because I think that the potential that both these teams are going to score, I'm not at will, but they're going to score. They're going to score. Leads to me to be the over here. So I'm playing a 1 unit bet, on K-State Tulane, 40 over the 47.5.
I was close to doing the same bet. I was close. Love it when the lines move like that. Any thoughts, Darren?
No, I actually did not look at this game at all. Y'all know from our Big 12 preview, I'm a huge Avery Johnson fan. I expect him to go nuts here. I do like K-State to cover, but that's about it. Nothing for me on the total either.
Okay, well, let's review.
Can I have my crappy money line play of the week? Which I know you don't. Oh, never mind. It's right there. Okay, I forgot. I said that as well. Look at those pretty colors. I'll have you know, I put
the colors
2.5 minutes into that. Hope y'all appreciate that.
Apologize to any of our colorblind watchers. Continue.
I forgot to add the money line. You do have a money line bet, Florida International in Central Michigan.
Yeah, not all my bets make sense. I just kind of thought after hitting Notre Dame money line, USC money line, maybe I don't suck at every kind of bet, but this line, Florida National, was a 6.5 point dog. They're down to a 5-point dog now, so a lot of money coming in on FIU here. Both these teams statistically for last year are pretty much the same. I talked at length about FIU. I have them over 4.5 win total. I don't know if you got that scrolling across the screen, but I think, Pete, I suckered you into making that bet with me as well. I don't think this was one of the games I actually had them winning. But they lost 31-7 at Indiana, and it wasn't as terrible as it looked. They kept Curtis Rourke to 180 yards passing. They couldn't stop the run to save their lives, but Central Michigan, even though they won their game 66-10 against some terrible school, they didn't run the ball that well. So I don't know. I just call this, like Pete had a gut feeling earlier, call this my gut feeling for the week. And you notice there, it's only a half unit. I'm not doing anything crazy here with a team who's got a projected win total of 4.5. But they might get one here, which will make me feel better about that bet. So I rolled with Florida National on the money line plus 185.
I did feel like Pete making my picks this week. Like it's all over under bets.
Yeah, you got 3 unders, 3 overs.
I'm
just like,
you
guys are both killing it this year, so you know what?
Well, I think as a group we're doing fun. 13-7. I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, SMU and Jacksonville State screwed me. That's the only reason I've got a negative number on that board there. But the week was good. 2-1, 6-2, 11-5. Take that every week.
Yeah. Hey, I should be undefeated, but Ole Miss decided to score a bazillion points. But I'm giving them the big Michigan hug this week and giving it back to them. So score a bazillion points again, please.
There we go. All right, let's move on. We got our RPO segment. Let's go. First game. It's Texas at Michigan. Well, we already had that covered.
Avoiding.
We do have a bet on that one. Iowa State and Iowa.
I looked hard at this one because I wanted to do something with this game, and I just could not find the right play on it. I was looking at the over/under. I so wanted to bet this game, but I just couldn't quite get there. Yeah, the Iowa defense is just killer. So I love that about them. So I was trying to go with the under, but the total's really low. So I just couldn't get anywhere with it. But I really do think I Iowa's going to win, and I think they're going to win pretty handily, actually.
Yeah, I think that as well. This was what I was also looking at. If I was going to do anything, I would run with Iowa on this one at home. 3 points. They got the defense. See what happens.
Is that a night game? I didn't look.
Don't
It
know.
usually is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Don't they
if that's
usually play?
if that's a night game, you cannot win in that place at night. I mean, that place is just vicious.
So, gotta start keeping track of the times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I was going to win this game. My only concern is, they did put up 40, but they still only had a 6-0 lead at halftime last year.
Yeah.
I would love to say Iowa has found an offense, but put up 27 here. And I'm a believer. But yeah, I think Iowa wins this one without too much trouble.
Mm-hmm. Baylor getting 14 at Utah. Hard pass for me. I have no idea what team's going to show up where.
Nope.
I mean, so
yeah. I wouldn't touch it either. That NC, I just threw that in there just as a reminder to anybody who's got a Big 12 futures bet of any kind. That is a non-conference game, so that game will not be counting in the standings. This was made like 9-10 years ago when Utah was still a Pac-12 team, and they agreed to keep the game. So if you've got either of these teams in a win total bet, or maybe in the case of Utah, a conference winner bet, this game will not count in the standings. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I agree. I'm avoiding this game as well.
any thoughts on that, Peter?
I have none. I didn't look at it.
Yeah. Kansas at Illinois. Oof. I like Kansas. Like be some quarterback stays healthy, but on the road against Illinois, it's always a tough thing. So I decided to pass on this one.
Yeah, I was trying not to get too Big Ten heavy and happy here, so I looked at it, but I just kind of walked away from it, so I don't have much to offer.
Yeah, I mean, if the Illinois passing game is as good as it was last week, I would lean over here. The spread opened at 5.5. To have it down to 4.5 doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but just add that to the list. If I had a play here, I would go over in this game. If Illinois' passing game is legit, Kansas defense isn't, but their offense is. This could be like a 38-34 game here.
All right, and Tennessee at NC State, given 10. I'm leaning Tennessee, but no, I would pass on this game. This ACC looks too terrible, but they always play tough, especially at home. But I'm leaving it alone.
Well, that's actually a neutral site game this week, so they're not. I think they're in Charlotte, which I guess you could say is home for NC State, but it's not really. Again, this spread was like around 7.5. Now it's up to 10. I didn't watch the Tennessee game, but from what I had read, everybody was like, wow, this looks like 2022 Tennessee. And if that's the case, they should cover this 10 with no problem. But I didn't watch. I didn't look at any box scores. I do know from, week one, NC State had to put up a 21 point fourth quarter to beat, was it Western Carolina or some terrible team like that at home. Tim, I agree with you. I would lean Tennessee here, but I wouldn't play it.
Yeah, neutral site. It's like when Oregon played Georgia a couple years ago in Atlanta. Neutral site. Oh, come on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. All right, Colorado at Nebraska. I like Colorado. If I was going to run with this one, I'm running with Colorado. I think this might be the game of the week, whether EEK or EAK, but I like this game. They're all excited with the new quarterback and everything, but I think I think Coach Prime will have them ready to go. I think they can keep it close, if not win it outright. But I would, if I was going to place a bet, I'd run with Colorado.
Same, I concur. I like the +7 there. I think that Colorado's probably a solid bet here. I'm leaning there. I didn't go that direction, but I think this is their opportunity to kind of step forward a bit here this year.
That's definitely on my list to watch for sure.
Yeah, some sites this is down to 6.5. So I don't know when Colorado became the big public team. I'm guessing probably when Dion took over, but
that'll do
apps, Vegas, they can't stop money from coming in on Colorado. I'm a believer in that Raiola kid from Nebraska. They don't look like anything like they did last year. This total has gone from like 56.5 to 59.5. And I think now it's down to 57.5. I'd go over here. I mean, Colorado still has no defense, but they do have a good offense. I mean, this could be 41-37 or something like that. I'd hit the over on this as well if I had to. Not going to, but if I had to make
Not
a bet,
pass.
that's where I would go.
And finally, Appalachian State at Clemson, 16.5. Oof.
How bad is Clemson?
Fast.
That's the question here. I mean, how bad are they? They did not look good. I don't.
They looked good for like a half, I think. I think it was like 10-3 at half, and then the wheels just fell off in the second half. I mean, I don't think they're in danger of losing. I think they're in danger of covering, but who knows? Too confusing. I mean, I don't know. Has the line moved at all? Have you been keeping track?
17 down to 16.5, but nothing major here.
Nothing major. Yeah, I'm passing on this one. I don't know what you guys are thinking.
Same. I don't know. I mean, if Clemson is any good at all or better than they showed last week, they should come out angry and they should pound them. That's what my thought would be, but I don't know that's going to happen. That was my play with FSU last week as well, and that didn't work. So I'm staying away from anything like that. I'm not going to trust the rebound when I can't really trust the player. So I'm out.
Yeah, if Clemson covers, this is going to be because their defense is going to set them up with some short fields here. Klubnik is just not. He's just not. All right. I don't know what it is with these ACC quarterbacks that are trash, but he's just not that good. But their defense is elite. And I could certainly see like a 31-7 score here or something like that. I would lean Clemson to cover just because it's off that key number of 17. Call us a get right spot. I don't know if Clemson's ever going to get right or not, but if they do, this will be it. I would lean them to cover here.
Right. They can have DJ back if they want. If they don't want Klubnik.
No, you guys made your choice. You didn't need that Cam Ward guy, who, by the way, I gave out a 22-1 as a Heisman winner. It's down to 10-1. So hopefully you were allowed to bet that because I can't in this hellhole of a state that I live in. There you go.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. Remember, you can email us at cfbdudes@yahoo.com. You can find us on X at Target Wins and Facebook. And we have a YouTube channel, so please go there, click like, subscribe, leave a review. It all helps us out. Thank you all for listening, and have a good week.
Go win some money.
And I bet Northwestern.